Who are you voting for?
Trump, obviously.
Trump.
Why Trump?
No,
Good policies.
Yeah, good policies. Kamal's done nothing.
Who are you voting for?
Trump.
Why Trump?
The economy was way better.
Trump for you.
I just vote Republican. Don't love him as a person, but I don't think that matters at this point.
Who are we voting for?
Trump.
Yes.
Why Trump?
Because I'm tired of paying a crap ton of money for my groceries. And killing babies is bad, so.
Who are we voting for?
Oh, I'm voting for Trump for sure.
Why Trump?
He's gonna make housing affordable again. We'll actually have money now. We'll be able to buy groceries again. It's just gonna be great.
Who we vote for?
Trump.
Harris.
Why are we voting Trump?
I just think he'd be better for the country, economics-wise.
I'm for restricting immigration. I love his talks about tariffs. I'm anti-abortion.
Meanwhile,
I mean, just your costs are up versus a year ago. Groceries, 85%. Utilities, 78%. Healthcare, 67%. Housing, 66%. Gasoline, 54%. The bottom line is this. Americans feel like prices are rising in each and every single part of their life.
News as of now, 22 states are in an official recession. This means that for a vast portion of Americans, we are facing economic hardship. So don't let economists and Fox News reporters tell you we're fine, we're not in a recession, because we are, and we have the data to prove it.
You ever watch somebody ignore every warning sign in life and then act shocked when the consequences show up like Amazon Prime? Yeah, that's pretty much the energy we're dealing with today. Welcome back to Think Out Loud, friends, the caffeine-powered corner of the internet where we make sense of political nonsense one FAFO at a time. And listen, to my regulars, the ones leaving comments, cracking jokes, dropping paragraphs longer than some politicians' attention spans, I see you, I appreciate you, and you genuinely keep this channel alive. And to the new folks wandering in, hey, grab a seat, grab a cup. You're safe here. Well, unless you're allergic to facts, then this might itch a little. Now, I know the majority of the audience is not MAGA. Trust me, I read the comments, my blood pressure confirms it. But every now and then, I spot a Trump supporter lurking. They don't comment, they don't speak, they just hover like confused owls. And honestly, I love that. Because there's always a tiny chance, just a tiny one, that something in one of these videos might break through the spell. And let's be real, that spell is cracking everywhere. Because MAGA voters, who once swore Trump was the second coming of economic Jesus, are now waking up to a very uncomfortable truth. They didn't elect a financial genius. They elected a man who treats the economy like expired yogurt. Shake it, sniff it, hope for the best. We're talking lost jobs, rising costs, snap cuts, and the famous $40 billion money hug to Argentina, all hitting at the same time. And suddenly, MAGA regret is spreading faster than conspiracy theories on Facebook. So today we're diving into the psychology, the economics, the broken promises, and the FAFO moments that finally made Trump's most loyal followers say, yeah, about that red hat, maybe not.
One thing that did become clear was that the economy was a massive motivating factor for people. It ranked number one among issues voters said they cared about, with 52% saying it was extremely important to them. And it was frequently mentioned among those who voted for Trump.
Everything's too expensive. My wife, she actually works 2 jobs just to have extra money. So, I mean, we're waiting for Trump. I'm voting Trump.
He had catapulted us into a better lifestyle.
While he was the president, everything was nice and smooth, and I still had money left in my pocket.
I would describe myself as being resigned, I suppose, to voting for Donald Trump. Again, I can't vote for the status quo. And I was absolutely better off during Donald Trump's presidency than I am today.
All right, so let's ease into this gently, because what we're about to unpack requires a soft hand, a calm voice, and maybe a helmet. See, before everything fell apart, a whole lot of people in the movement were walking around with main character energy, acting like every warning sign was just liberal hysteria. Economists warned them, historians warned them, literally math warned them, and their response was basically, nah, we're good. We've got the chosen one leading us into the sunrise. And listen, I'm not even trying to be dramatic here, but the level of confidence they had, whew, you would think they personally had backstage passes to the economy. They really believed ignoring basic policy reality was the same thing as defeating it. Like if you squint hard enough, inflation disappears. If you clap twice, tariffs become magical unicorns. You know, science. But here's where it gets funny and depressing at the same time. When you go back and watch those pre-election clips, the ones of young MAGA voters saying things like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to buy a house," and "the cost of living is definitely coming down," you get this moment of clarity. Not because they're dumb, let's not do that, but because you can literally see how they were sold a dream with zero down payment and no inspection. They weren't voting based on facts. They weren't voting based on outcomes. They were voting based on vibes. And the vibes? Chef's kiss, cinematic, totally disconnected from reality. This is the part where I like to lean back with my coffee and say, my friends, this is what happens when you treat politics like a fandom instead of a system. Because ignoring warning signs doesn't make them disappear. It just makes the crash louder. So now we're here. And the very voters who thought they were choosing the path to economic freedom are staring at grocery prices like they personally offended someone at the Federal Reserve. And honestly, you can't even blame them alone. They were groomed to believe expertise is elitism, education is brainwashing, and warnings are fear tactics. So of course they walked right into the consequences like they were running a victory lap. Welcome to Chapter 1, folks. The moment vibes met reality, and reality did not blink.
A report just came out that 23 states have officially entered a recession, and meanwhile, the Trump family continues to profit off of the Genius Act and rake in billions off of crypto wealth. Wake up, America! He's making himself, his family, and his friends more rich while our country goes into a recession. Back in July, Trump passed the Genius Act, which was initially made to put more regulations on crypto and on stablecoins. Stablecoins are a type of digital currency that is pegged to the US dollar. And one of the important provisions around stablecoins is that they are not able to issue yields, but of course corporations and billionaires have found a way around that. And Trump called the Genius Act prioritizing consumer protection, strengthening the US dollar's reserve, and bolstering national security, but it's actually putting money at risk and it's weakening our banks. And here is exactly how this impacts the working class. The Genius Act actually reduces regulations on crypto while simultaneously encouraging Americans to take their money out of banks and put them into cryptocurrency, because Trump says it's fun and you'll get rich fast. If we take our money out of banks and we put them in cryptocurrency in entities like PayPal and Coinbase, not only are we putting our banks at risk, but we are also risking our own money. PayPal and Coinbase are not banks. They are not backed by the FDIC. If these companies fail, your savings could just go away. If we follow the money, you can see that what Trump is doing is he is passing laws and legislation that make it easier for him and his family to gain wealth, but he is simultaneously destabilizing our entire banking system. We must continue to press our leaders to pass legislation that protects the working class, but also protects banks from entering insolvency.
News as of now, 22 states are in an official recession. This means that for a vast portion of Americans, we are facing economic hardship. So don't let economists and Fox News reporters tell you we're fine, we're not in a recession, because we are, and we have the data to prove it. Recession is often characterized by lack of job opportunities as well as persistent economic hardship lasting more than a few months. Current estimates suggest that 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and many people are struggling to put food on the table each day. States currently in or on the brink of recession include Oregon, Georgia, and Illinois, where I currently live. There has been a significant decline in economic activity in these states that has lasted for more than a few months. The craziest thing is that the District of Columbia, or DC, the capital of the country, is one of the territories that's hit the hardest right now. But why? Largely because of Trump's economic plan and the tariffs. So many politicians are lying to us right now by saying that our economy is the greatest in the world, especially those on the right. And I want you to know right now that no, you're not crazy. Yes, the economy is worse. Yes, it is harder to get a job. And yes, it is because of the person who is in office right now, as well as various other factors. Crazy, and we're only 1 year into his presidency.
All right, now that we've established that vibes were driving the bus in Chapter 1, let's talk about what happens when the vibes finally run out of gas. Because folks, we're not dealing with, oops, I misread the tea leaves energy anymore. We're dealing with 23 states sliding into recession. 23. That's almost half the country doing the economic equivalent of, hey, does anyone else smell smoke? And here's where the psychology comes in. And please, feel free to sip something warm because this part is juicy. See, when people are deeply committed to a political identity, especially one built on us versus them, the human brain does something magical and tragic. It protects the ego before it protects the truth. This is called motivated reasoning, a fancy way of saying, I'm going to believe whatever hurts my pride the least. So instead of saying, damn, maybe we supported policies that damaged the economy, the brain goes, nope, nope, that's impossible. This must be the Democrats' fault, or immigrants, or the weather, or Beyoncé, whoever's convenient. And this is why you now see MAGA voters online insisting that nothing is wrong, even as 23 states dip into recession territory, even as jobs dry up, even as people in their own Facebook groups are whispering, does anyone know why groceries look like luxury items now? Because admitting the truth would mean confronting the possibility that they were misled. And psychologically, that is one of the hardest things for any human brain to process. Cognitive dissonance, the tension between what you believe and what reality is showing you, hits them like a brick wall. And instead of turning around, most of them just decorate the wall, put up a little flag, maybe a Bible verse, pretend it's a doorway. So now you have entire communities suffering under the weight of rising prices, shrinking job markets, struggling businesses. But the loyalty? Still there, still strong, still louder than the economic pain they're living through. And this is the heartbreaking, hilarious, mind-blowing part. The very voters who said, we're going to fix the economy, are now living inside the economy that needs fixing, and still insisting everything is fine. This is the psychology of denial. This is how misinformation survives. This is how 23 states end up on the recession scoreboard while people keep chanting, we're winning.
I'm sorry. I voted for him. I thought he was going to help folks like me. I really did. Now my SNAP's gone, my Medicaid's gone. They cut off my heat and help last week. I don't know how I'm supposed to buy groceries next month to keep the lights on. I ain't got.
So Trump supporters, if you're not worried now about the economy, now is the time to be worried. Nebraska, Tyson Foods. They're the largest meat producer in the country. They're closing their Nebraska beef processing plant because of Trump economics. Cattle costs have risen $2 billion because of Trump's tariffs, and it has resulted in a net loss of $425 million in 2025 to date for Tyson Foods. So they're closing their meat packing plant, and 3,200 employees in this small town with only 11,000 residents are losing their jobs. 3,200 employees, and I can guarantee a vast majority voted for this, and it doesn't end there. Tyson is taking their 3-shift slaughter operation in Texas down to 1 shift, so a lot more people at their Texas facility are going to be let go. When you talk about big industries now being affected, not the small guy, but those at the top of the food chain being impacted and closing down, we are in a world of economic hurt. And this is just the beginning, because this Trump administration is not focused on fixing the problem. They keep creating more. And I got to tell you, just this Tyson food location in Nevada, there are so many suppliers, so many vendors, contractors every single day that did work for this Tyson facility, whether inside the building or outside the building. These are big contracts that these local businesses are now going to lose. So they're going to be affected as well. Expect more layoffs and bankruptcies downstream of Tyson Foods.
You know, that clip you just watched, the one breaking down how this economy is about to get a whole lot worse, yeah, that is what heartbreak looks like when it's wrapped in charts and forecasts. Because the saddest part isn't even the recession itself. It's that so many MAGA diehards are willing to go down with the ship, as long as they think someone they hate is drowning harder. And listen, that's not politics. That's psychology. That's human emotion warped by resentment. You see it every day. If you tell some of these folks, hey, this policy is going to hurt you, their response is basically, okay, but is it hurting immigrants? Is it hurting liberals? Is it hurting someone I've been conditioned to hate? If the answer is yes, then suddenly their own suffering feels manageable. It's like they've convinced themselves that pain only counts if someone else isn't feeling it more. And that, my friends, is how a movement becomes a trap. Because now we have people cheering cuts to SNAP while quietly struggling to buy groceries. We have folks clapping for rising tariffs while their own bills get heavier every month. We have voters yelling, "America first," while literally watching America get pushed to the back of the line. And the wildest part? They were warned. By economists, by analysts, by anyone with a calculator, even by their own neighbors. They were told, hey, this isn't going to hurt the people you think it will, it's going to hurt you. And the response was, well, as long as it hurts somebody. That is the tragedy. That is the heartbreak. A whole group of people who have been taught that suffering is some kind of moral scoreboard and that empathy is weakness. So now, they're living paycheck to paycheck, cutting back on food, lowering the thermostat, watching their savings evaporate, all while posting online that this is what America needs. It's painful to watch, because none of this had to happen, and deep down, they know it. They just don't know how to say it out loud yet.
This isn't me trying to fearmonger, this is just me trying to prepare you. The US economy right now is like a Jenga tower with 18 fucking pieces missing. We are one piece pulled out away from everything just toppling down. AI was responsible for 40% of US GDP growth this past year and 80% of US stock growth. And the manufacturing industry has contracted for 7 consecutive months, while every other economic indicator is saying this is as bad as things have been since 2009. Now, when you have a sentence that says the economy is as bad as it's been since 2009, you are fucked. So again, this is not me fear-mongering, this is just me preparing you. Our economy is in a very bad place. If you have a job, hold on to it with everything you have.
MAGA is having a huge meltdown and finally starting to crack and leave Trump. It's been coming in waves, but it seems to be escalating.
Trump rally we ever went to in 2017 when he came to Topeka, Kansas, and did a rally for Chris Kobach. Throw him in there. Piece of shit.
I've seen 5 or 6 of these videos. People are having bonfires. Apparently they have new gear now that says something like America first, I want to say, and the hats are blue. So that's interesting. People are furious, and it's understandable. I don't know how the rift in this country gets sewn back together. For many MAGA supporters, it was worth it to them to throw immigrants and women and minorities under the bus so that they could keep more of their own money or even potentially make more money. And they really believed, heart and soul, that that's what this administration was going to focus on. That's what they were going to do. They were going to lower costs. They were going to lower taxes. They were going to make sure that there were more high-paying American jobs available. These are low empathy people. They didn't care about the suffering of other people. That has never been a factor to them in their voting decisions. But what they have found is that we are bleeding out jobs and costs are through the roof. And not only are we still paying the same amount in taxes now, we have tariffs on top of that. And the economy is not well. And so people are fed up. They're sick of it. And I think that this movement is nearing its end.
You know, when you step back and look at everything happening right now, it feels like we're watching a whole political identity run straight into a brick wall made of its own choices. Because beneath all the memes, the shouting, and the tough guy branding, a lot of these folks are finally coming face to face with something they weren't prepared for. The reality that consequences don't negotiate. And what's striking, genuinely striking, is how many of them were willing to endure hardship as long as they believed somebody else would suffer more. But life doesn't work like that. Suffering isn't a selective weapon. When the economy turns, it doesn't tap you on the shoulder and ask who you voted for before landing its punch. And it's sad, honestly, Because these aren't villains. These are people who are misled, used, manipulated, and told that pain was a form of patriotism. Now they're discovering that the pain doesn't come with hero music. It just comes with past due bills, lost jobs, and broken promises. But maybe, just maybe, there's hope in that realization. Because when enough people see the same truth at the same time, that's the moment when change becomes possible. All right, friends, that's where we'll leave it for today. If you've made it all the way to the end, you're the heartbeat of this channel. Your insight, your humor, your compassion, this community exists because of you. And to the quiet viewers who don't comment, especially the ones still wrestling with their political identity, I'm glad you're here too. Reflection is a powerful thing. We're all navigating this moment together. And the more we call things what they actually are, the harder it becomes for bad ideas to survive. I appreciate you. Take care of yourselves, and as always, think out loud. Glenn out.